My name is Dusty Solomon, and I am in Dr. Freeman's The Future of Education and Work class at the University of Idaho. I was asked to consider what my profession would look like in the year 2050. I am currently employed by the Twin Falls Police Department, where I hold the position of sergeant and supervise one of our specialty units. In regards to this question, I had never thought about it before. Before I dive into that, however, I want to take a moment to talk about one of our textbooks. In his book, A World Without Work, Daniel Susskind focuses on the dilemma of a world where technological advancement would create an age where there was no work for the unemployed. Susskind looked at the threat and what our response should be to what he sees as unavoidable. Susskind stated that the challenge is to take those unavoidable features of the future as given and still build a world where all of us can flourish. While I agree that technological advancement is unavoidable and we must prepare ourselves now for changes that will occur, I really struggled with some of the answers he gave. I have a hard time seeing how the, quote, big state, referring to the government taxing to retain capital to then disperse it equally, would ever work in America. I was also left shaking my head when Susskind said we would give those without work meaning and purpose by encouraging them to find meaningful work and activities to participate in. I wanted to throw my hands up and shout, "Isn't that what we just took away?" I truly feel that a wise man would not ignore the unavoidable, but would also put restrictions in place to ensure a quality of life worth living. So as I think of my profession in the year 2050, I think back to the very first police officer. I then run across an article just this last weekend from a reputable police site titled, "Could Smart Uniforms Reduce Police Use of Force?" The article talked about an exoskeleton uniform currently in research and development that would alert an officer to impending danger and would be able to assess the emotional state of a person approaching. I wanted to include some comments from my colleagues. I began by asking how technology has changed our profession.
I started in 1997, and the city had just started email, very rudimentary computer usage. We didn't do accident reports online. We really didn't do anything on computers. And now you fast forward to today, and our officers do everything on computers. They have computers in their car, they have computers in their pockets, they have body-worn cameras. The technological changes and advancements have actually left a lot of older officers behind.
When I started, I remember we didn't have any computers in the cars. We had computers in the office room, the desks, but they're nothing more than desktop computer. And so really there was the technology then was a pen and a pad of paper in a couple of years, and we got the computers in the cars, which really changed things because you no longer had to remember where officers were. You could just look at your board on your computer and find out where they were at or what they were doing, and so that changed it quite a bit actually. As a new guy, when I would first get called, if I didn't know the street I was going to, I'd have to literally unfold a map and look on the map and see, how to get there. But with the MDC having, when they put the address in and they'd have the cross streets, it would help narrow it down quite a bit to a part of town. So that helped there. And of course, technology just continued to evolve. To now, we have our cell phones, our smartphones that we didn't have then. We had, there were cell phones, but they weren't the smart technology. The cell phones allow for much easier photographic evidence collecting, videographic evidence collecting. I'm able to, using certain apps, do investigative work out in the field, whereas before that we didn't have that ability. Cell phones, our new computers, these Surface Pros, we're able to take out in the field with us instead of being tied to the desk. We can take it with us, and we can do just about anything we can here out in the field. And so that really helps a lot, even though for me and a couple of the older guys, we still like a pad of paper and a pen.
When I first started, it was citations, written citations, to no computers all, everything was handwritten and so forth. To fast forward to today's date, we use what's called e-tickets, making our job a lot faster pertaining to traffic stops. We use areas, for example, like COPE areas, where we identify high crime areas, and at that point, using technology obviously, and at that point we target that area so we can reduce that high crime and or crashes.
I then asked for their input on how they saw technology changing things.
I believe at one point in time, we as officers are only going to get dispatched to something that requires actual face-to-face contact versus, most calls that will be able to taken care of via computer and or voice automated like everything else. That's slowly progressing towards that.
What does it look like?
I think of the pace of technological change and innovation, and it seems to be going faster and quicker. And I think of drones a lot when I think of the future of police work. And what seems a little outlandish today, you just look back 25 years ago, I never would have thought I'd carry something like a smartphone with me, or I'd wear a body-worn camera on my chest all day long. And I wouldn't be surprised if each officer had a mini drone flying above their car and following them on their calls or recording everything they see and do.
I thought it was interesting that during a couple of my interviews, they actually touched on the negative aspect of technology.
To take it a step further, it's really changed how much evidence we have in cases. And so, digital technology is, some people think that it helps our job maybe to make our job easier or faster. In our case, in my personal opinion, I don't think it has. It has definitely helped our job, when things are caught on camera, when crimes are caught on video, but it has made our job a lot harder and given us a lot more work, and with the same amount of people that we have working here. But we have to make sure that all attorneys, prosecutors, and defense attorneys have access to all and any evidence in a case. And now, because of technology and because of everybody having videos or recordings, whether it be on their phone or their doorbell ring camera or the officer's body worn camera, because of all of that technology, we have so much more evidence that we have to locate and make sure to store properly and then share. It has changed it a lot, not probably for the better, yes, but not making our job any easier or not making any less work for us. I think it's almost the opposite. We have a lot more
advancement of technology, cell phones, for example, it has created almost a new type of crime. It's not new, but it's made it so much easier to commit, and that's crimes against children with the child pornography or sexting, stuff like that. Everybody today has a cell phone, has a smartphone, and that is so readily available. Just like it's easier for us to take pictures of evidence, it's also easy for other people that want to commit crime in that fashion to do it. And so it's created a whole nother area of crime.
When asked if they thought our job could be automated, the answers were very different.
I do think that could be in our future. Artificial intelligence is advancing at leaps and bounds. Everything I read, guys like Elon Musk and the innovations they're making on it, I think it's coming. I think it's inevitable, and I could honestly see police work several decades from now, but police work in the future being conducted by cyborg-type machines that don't suffer from the pitfalls that police officers do with the emotions that go into decisions or the emotional toll that the job can take on one. And I can honestly, absolutely see that.
I would hope that law enforcement would still be predominantly done by humans because, and again, who knows what technology will bring, but right now humans have our experience, our morals, our ethics, we have our judgment and empathy and feelings, really, that computers, robots, they don't have experience, they don't have anything to draw from that way, they don't have empathy, they don't have feelings. 30 years from now, I don't know. I mean, they may be almost human, but I would hope that we still have humans doing this job. It's hard to really picture what things would be like in 30 years technology-wise. I mean, just 20 years ago, I wouldn't ever picture you sitting there with an iPad, you know what I mean, recording me like that. And so it's really hard to imagine, but I think it'll just continue to advance, hopefully make the job easier. The key, though, I think, is to always remember that we are all human and we treat humans like humans and we respect each other's rights, particularly government towards the people have the rights. And so with advancement of technology, there's a concern that could get diminished.
My specialty area with the police department is in crisis negotiations and mental health response. I truly believe that these are some of the most difficult situations we encounter because there's no formula on how to react. Every situation is totally different, and even in similar situations, the individuals involved react absolutely differently. I truly believe that there are certain aspects of my job that will be automated in the future, but I can never see a robot taking over every aspect of my job. Instead, I believe technology will start to enhance our career, as shown in the University of San Diego article referenced below. While looking into this topic, I came across a TED Talk titled Artificial Intelligence, Winners and Losers. While the talk was meant to take a comic approach at AI, I really liked what the speaker said at the end. He asked the question, what will AI look like in the future? He commented that it would not be Skynet or Arnold, but he instead put a picture of a small child on the screen. He said it will be quite benign as long as we make conscious choices about the future of AI. We need to make sure that the benefits of AI are broadly shared and that we use these technologies to support the need for care, compassion, and creativity. We want to have a future with more jobs and fewer people being left behind. I truly appreciated and agreed with this response. Returning to Susskind, he ended his book by saying, "The problem is not simply how to live, but how to live well." So what will the future look like? Well, the advancement of technology is inevitable. But what we do with that is really up to us.